your upbringing,
Mm-hmm.
who can you pinpoint that helped nurture that to plant that seed in you? Because it had to come from somewhere. You don't wake up and just say,
no.
You know.
I think that I've always told people that parenting is super important to me. Being a mom is still the most important thing ever for me. My kid is 24 now, and I feel like I'll always be parenting, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so having my kid 2 weeks to my 16th birthday and wanting a different life for him and raising him forced me to be a better person. So I always tell folks the person that most inspires me, that sort of pushed me here, or is the reason I'm here, is my son.
Okay.
So my son has always been, he's like the best debater. Like, we talk about everything. He pushes how I think about things, how I perceive things. He pushes me to think broader. He pushes me to be more accepting of what I might not be so open to thinking about accepting. So it's really wanting to be a good mom in order for him to be a good person and have good outcomes that made me think more about other people, about myself, and how I do the work. And so then when I ran across Bell Hook's work, and she's always talking about love and black folks.
Yeah.
So I wanted to always, in raising my son, I always wanted to be at a place of loving, not yelling at him, but how do I work? How am I always just loving him, even if I'm disciplining him? How do I discipline him from a place of love? So I learned how to do everything, and it takes daily practice. You just got to, oh Lord, you got to practice every day, because you can be tested, so you got to practice every day. But every day that I wake up, my goal is to do the work from a love ethic. And if I'm having a moment, that is my moment. That moment doesn't belong to anybody else, and it's not fair for me to take my moment and take that out and give it to
Have
other
you
people.
ever had a moment and came into the center and your moment in some way shifted?
Yes. Regularly.
Regularly. Tell us about that.
So oftentimes you live in a city, especially where black women are not altogether empowered. So sometimes I'll have a meeting out in the community, and it may be a meeting where I'm the only black person in the meeting. And there can be some things that are said, or there's some microaggressions that happen. So, I'm working. I'm oh, Lord, I cannot wait to get back to the center. And then I'll come in here, I'll drop my gym bag or whatever I got in my hand, and I just breathe and automatically.
It's like a sanctuary.
It's a perfect explanation. It's just automatically everything that I was carrying from that meeting sort of is sort of washed away, and just it's released. So, and that's how people feel. Sometimes we'll get women who come in here who are older black women, maybe between 50 and 60, and they've lived here and worked here most of their lives, and they come in here, by the time they get to their room, they read that quote crying, literally crying, because they've never experienced this in a city that they lived in most of their lives.
Wow.
So yeah. So it's, for some people, it becomes very emotional, and I
can see that.
It becomes very emotional. So that's why I'm very conscious about not allowing any space that I create to become gentrified, because I understand that it's going to take about a generation for this to become just. It feels like it always existed. It's going to take about 10, 15, 20 years for that to happen.
It takes time.
Yeah, so there are always going to be moments where people will come into the space over the years, even in our permanent space, where this is a first, and there's going to be some emotions connected to that. So I don't need someone in that space who was sort of make them uncomfortable in having that emotion. So
and they're free, you're free to feel.
You're
free to speak.
Yep. And it's you're the expert at being a black woman, because oftentimes as black women, people treat us like we're not the expert at being black. You can sort of take from us, borrow from us, not pay us for what we are. And then it's just no, let me help you be black. I think I know what's better for you. It's no, we're the experts at being black, and not everything is black. There's all kinds of blackness. We're not a monolith of people, but it's we are the content experts on being black.
And you know what I love about being black? The individuality.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at you, and I love it.
Yeah.
Who can have this type of
Yeah. I know, right?
Who can do
got my
that?
lines, my hair. At one point I was maybe I need to give me some purple hair, but
I love it.
Maybe.
I love it. The individuality.
Yeah.
Is that something as a woman that you had to grow into, or is that something that you always had?
I think because I was the oldest of my mom's kids, I think I always was able to have control, because when you're the oldest, you get to do whatever you want.
I'm
basically.
The oldest too.
So you always kind of got your own little freedom.
Yeah.
And so I think because I was the oldest, and I'm just used to sort of get in my way or figuring out how to make me get my way. And so I think, and then I locked my hair for a long time. Because there's something that happens when you're locking your hair. Like you're like growing.
It does.
Yeah, you're growing and you're figuring out like who you are. So I locked my hair, and most of my 20s my hair was locked. Okay. And then when before I moved here, I cut them because I realized the reason that I locked them, I had got through that thing. And so I literally.
I wonder if that's what happened to me.
Yeah, you never know. Everybody's lock story is different.
It is definitely a story.
Yeah. But it was like, I cut them when it was like letting the hair go was also finally letting this thing go that I was dealing with.
So how long did you grow them to?
So my dreads got back here. They got to the point where they were getting caught. Like if I'm moving, or whatever, they would get caught and stuff. So I had to learn how to keep them together.
That's my goal. Mine's about
because when you move around, you could just be like going through the closet or something, and boom, your hair that got stuck somewhere. So, but it was
that was so deep and profound for you to say that. I realized that at that moment, I didn't need that. And it's not that I didn't like my hair anymore, but that moment,
I was through the thing. Yeah, and I've never, and two, like I never knew how to do my hair anyway. Like my stepdad was like super old school. My dad, my dad OD'd when I was 10 years old. And so as I got older, my mom met someone and he was old school. So, women got to have their hair done. So he sent me to the shop at like 13.
Okay.
So I never got the whole like learn how to braid or do your own hair. So I was always in the shop. And when I was going through my thing, I decided to lock my hair. But through it, so now it's more so, I've never been like, I don't know how to explain, but I've never been attracted to some of these stereotypes about what black women should be and how we should be. And so I was like, I don't like doing my hair. I don't like a lot of hair. So I'm going to cut my hair. And I was like, I'm super old school. I'm a super old school hip hop head. So I was like, I want like an old school hip hop kind of haircut. And then when my barber cut it, it became like this trademark where people would know me for this hairstyle. So I've kept it. And I'm going to grow it out this year because I'm writing a book and I'm going through like another thing and writing this book. So I'm going to grow out my hair and figure out what does it look like in a year from now. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that connection with black women and our hair. It's important.
So I think I've just never been attracted to what people, how people wanted to define black women. Like, whether it be relationships, whether it be hair, whether it be what I can do and what I should do. Like, people thought I was crazy when I quit my job, But what's the funniest thing about it is when I quit my job, I was supposed to work until like 2:00 that day. I was, I'm leaving. Say I'm not about to be here all day long. I shut myself down, go hit that control, I'll delete, turn my credit cards in, started walking out. And on my way out, I saw my friend Michael Ford, who was here today. And Mike, I told Mike, I was like, Mike, I just quit. I'm like so happy. Like, I'm just lit. I'm just excited. And he was like, and don't look back. And I've never looked back.
Wow.
But it's funny that he was a teacher. He was a teacher in the architect program there. He also doesn't work there anymore. And now he is helping me lay out the plans to design our permanent space.
Nice.
So isn't that?
So
that's what I be like. The universe always looks out. I feel like when you do what you're supposed to be doing, you working within your purpose. The universe will work in alignment with you.
So how could we channel that? Like, what helps you to channel this energy?
Man,
what I mean, do you meditate? Are you praying? Like, what do you do to help you to stay steady and moving? I know your day starts at the top of the morning.
It does. A couple things. So I've learned over the years, one, the most important thing is to protect my peace. So I don't deal with people who because I learned like there are some envious people. There are people who are very like attracted to drama where like all day long. I can't be in that kind of environment. And so I don't entertain those sort of things. So if someone's sort of like throwing shade at me, I always look at like, they must be going through something because I ain't did nothing to you, fam, So I very much protect my peace and I'm very conscious about the environments that I keep myself in so I don't take on everybody else's stuff. Then I always try to figure out what's necessary and unnecessary to address. So sometimes when you address things that are not really necessary, it's like, do I need to even address this person? Probably not.
So that's unnecessary.
It's like it's unnecessary. Let me keep doing me and shining. So those are two huge things. And then most recently, I started boxing. I love boxing.
That sounds fun.
I love it. I box 2 days a week, and it is it's definitely a great cardio workout, but you don't really see, at least in Wisconsin, you don't see a lot of black women boxing. And so I feel like every time I'm in the gym that I'm on an episode or a movie shoot for the movie Rocky.
Yeah.
So I go there and I have a good time. So boxing, knowing what's necessary, protecting my peace. And then like this, I love this. Like this, everything that I'm doing now doesn't feel like work. Mm-hmm. So the other thing that I do, because I live in Wisconsin, it's not a whole lot of black folks. There's enough of us here, but not a lot. I travel every month on purpose for 3 to 5 days, or if not more. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I leave for a week. So I always go to cities where I can be in, like, commune with tons of black folks.
Okay.
You know, period. Like, I do that without a doubt.
Yeah.
So whether I go, sometimes I try to mix it where I'm going there, it's a 3-day conference, or I'm getting some sort of training, I'm going to meetings. And then there's a day or two where I just, spend time seeing the city. But I think it's important, especially for black folks who live in predominantly white cities, to get out of their spaces, these cities. Right. Definitely recommend folks who live in predominantly white cities to travel regularly, because you definitely want to experience cities and spaces and businesses that you don't get to, like, visit often.
Right.
And I think that also it gives you an example of what could be in your own city. So
Great point. Because I was thinking, like, this whole space, like, man, one day I can just see it being duplicated.
Yeah, that's the thing. There was a group in Texas that reached out to me as this was, like, growing and it was getting some national press. And so I'm thinking about, I have a list of maybe 5 other places that I'll try to do this in and duplicate. Mm-hmm. My goal is to duplicate it at least 4 more times in my lifetime. Okay. Where we actually build out the big permanent spaces. Yeah. And I don't want it in like for example, bigger cities like Atlanta, for example, or Milwaukee, Chicago. They got tons of spaces for black women. Mm-hmm. But then there are the smaller cities within a state that doesn't. And so that's where I'm thinking to build in.
And that's the neat thing about it, because you're going to the spaces that need it.
Yep. And I'm not trying to, like, be in the spaces where they're really saturated with it already. So
makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So I guess, I was gonna ask you, what do you see in the future? That's what you see in the future.
I see us get into our permanent space here in a couple years, and then me working really hard to duplicate it 4 or 5 more times in my lifetime.
So before we leave, who are some of the women that have impacted your life and inspired you to do the work that you're doing today? And just to help you be the woman that you are.
The first person always honest is my grandma, because my grandma don't take no stuff. She works hard, and she was a person, when I got pregnant with my son at 15, and then I had him like 2 weeks to my 16th birthday, she was like so nonchalant. She was like, well, Winnie, you got a new baby for your sweet 16. Women been having kids all the time. You're gonna be all right. She was the first person. And I was super scared. Yeah. But because she said that, it sort of like calmed me a bit. Mm-hmm. And so it's definitely my grandmother. It's women like Stacey Abrams, who ran for governor in Georgia, because I love women who are ambitious, who don't cater. Like, they're not about the status quo. Like, they're okay saying what they got to say or doing what they got to do, and they're not gonna be sort of like pull backwards in their goals in order to sort of like cater to the status quo. So those are the kinds of women, like my grandmother, Stacey Abrams. I got mad love for Oprah, because Oprah just out here just like creating all kinds of new avenues. And the thing what I absolutely, because some people who sort of take issue with her don't also sort of like, they don't give her credit for what she's accomplished or who she's put on. So Oprah is like my kind of businesswoman, because Oprah puts herself on, but she understands that putting herself on, she putting on 20 other people too.
Correct.
Because that helps build her too as well. So it's like, you don't have to hoard everything for yourself. You can create lanes for everybody else and still win.
And you know, when you get to that level, you do a lot of things behind doors.
That's the thing.
That people don't know.
People don't even know. I pick up the phone often and I call like a reporter. I'm like, you really need to be writing about this sister, or you need to follow this brother, or go carry this program. I don't call that person like, it was me who got the press to reach out to you. It's not necessary. But wherever I could be in a space and help somebody else, regardless if they know it or not, I take the advantage and do it, all the time.
Progress to you means what?
It's just me not catering to the status quo. Because if you want everything to be the same, then there's no progress, So basically, it just means bucking the status quo.